Hey, um, I'm here in Bend, Oregon. So nice to see you all again. We're looking at communication. So communication is a really important thing for our relationships. And everybody knows this, that communication is the key to a good relationship. We talk about this all the time. And it's kind of common knowledge that communicating, sharing what we want, what we desire is important for us. And many of us talk about, like, I've got great communication with my partner, it's going really well. But when we come to the area of sexual intimacy, it's not going so well. So I want to talk to you today about communication and about how it affects several different areas of our relationship. So kind of different stages that we might be in differently. And a lot of us think that communication is only something that you do when things aren't going well. For example, you're having a problem, and there's this dread phrase that we use, like, we need to talk. That tends to mean that something's not going well and I want to tell you about it. And it's almost like it's a complaint session or a difficulty, or we need to deal with a challenge. What I want to share with you today is that communication is important when things are going well, when things are difficult, and when things are completely off the rails. So let's start with the fun stuff. So when you're having a great relationship in the bedroom with your partner, talk about it. You don't have to talk about it during sex. It's not necessary that you kind of critique what's happening, like on the field type of like critiquing. I'm actually a sex coach, so people hilariously ask me sometimes if I'm kind of in the bedroom talking to people and telling them to do something different during sex, and the answer to that is sadly no. But when you're in a relationship where the sex is working for you and you're having great satisfaction and all sorts of good things happening, that's the time to expand your sexual connection and share about it. Talk about how fabulous it was yesterday. About, it can be kind of embarrassing, even if it was like amazingly fabulous. You had some amazingly new thing, like you learned to squirt, or you had an orgasm for the first time, or you had multiple orgasms, or your partner just pleased you so much, or you were so aroused, or you found out that when you sneeze, that's kind of related to you being turned on, or something else happened sexually in bed or in your turn on around each other that felt like it made a difference to you. It was fun to you. It was exciting to you. Maybe something like that happened, and talk about that. We oftentimes keep that to ourselves. So when it's fabulous or like even mind-blowing sex, a lot of us just kind of like, yeah, great. We don't even mention it the next day. I'm a fan of talking about it before and after, and sometimes even during. It's great to give feedback to a partner and tell him, her, them how it's going. Like, I really like that. Being vocal is important because the other person cannot read our mind, cannot read your mind. Your partner doesn't know if you're actually liking what's happening, if you're stoic and silent and you never say anything or never make any noises. Gosh, I had a really funny situation happen with a client the other day. They were talking about wanting dirty talk. And so like I kind of went there in my conversation about it. They just meant that they wanted to have some more noises, some like encouraging noises, so that each person kind of knew where the other person was in terms of feeling. Was it good? Was it bad? Was it indifferent? So it's important for you to let your partner know when it's good. Talk specifically about what happened so that she or they know that the way they touched you was your favorite. That new thing that she did with her hand on your penis was fantastic when she was giving you a blowjob. Whatever it was that was happening for the two of you, like, take that and just kind of play with that a little bit. Allow that to resonate between the two of you, because when you do that, it allows the episodes to extend. So if you have a sexual episode together and then time passes between that episode and the next one, when there's some conversation during that time, could be by text message, which can be super hot. It could be just communicating, talking. It could be phone, could be little notes that you write, whatever's comfortable for you works, because that person, then your partner knows like, wow, I was, I did the thing. And we don't want it to necessarily be hierarchical. I was talking to a friend about this yesterday. Like, it doesn't necessarily need to be like, I hit the mark. This was an A plus, this was an A, this was a B minus. I don't mean that we need to be grading our sex. I'm talking about just allowing there to be a fluid and comfortable conversation around what's happening, so that each person gets an understanding, a feel for where you are and how you feel and what would make it even more fun for you, so that your great sex life is just better and better all the time. Okay, so that's one time when communication is very important. It's when sex is going well. Now, the second time when communication is really important is when sex is not going very well. And that could be situations like you're having pain with intercourse if you're a woman. Maybe you're having problems with erectile dysfunction if you're a man. Maybe you're having problems with early ejaculation or delayed ejaculation. Maybe you're not able to orgasm for reasons that you can't understand that make you feel uncomfortable. Maybe you're having difficulty with uneven desire. We've talked about that a lot here on these conversations that I have with you on Tuesdays. Uneven desire is a really common thing. So any of these things that are in place in your relationship, maybe the woman is feeling, maybe if you're a woman, you're feeling like your partner is using you and not in a way that you like. There are different things that might be happening for you that just don't feel good. And it's good enough that you're having sex. You might be having duty sex. I talked about that last week, but it's good enough if you're not avoiding sex completely. Perhaps your frequency is down a bit. Maybe you're suffering from fatigue. Perhaps you've had a new baby. You might be a mom who's having trouble finding any kind of privacy in your home. There's so many reasons that you might not feel like the sex is great. And it's completely normal. So just to tell you, so many of us are having somewhat unfulfilling sex. The studies say that 10 to 15% of all sexual experiences any given time are either unsatisfying or unfulfilling or somehow unsuccessful for one or both people. So 10 to 15%, that means that lots and lots of people are having unfulfilling sex. They don't particularly love it. It's good-ish, or maybe not good, but it's not horrible. It's not bad enough that you've quit having sex, or maybe it is bad, but you haven't claimed that you're not going to do it anymore. You haven't gone on sex strike, or it hasn't happened so that you have such a gap together that you've stopped. So in those situations, so that's when you're having sex, but it's not fab. This is an important time to talk about it. And it kind of seems obvious. These are conflicts that you're having. These are things that are difficult, and you don't know how to fix them. So many people come to me with these types of concerns because it's not like we have a good vocabulary around sex. You may not even know what to call your own genitals or how to talk to your partner about that. There may be so many misunderstandings about your body, about your partner's body. Your partner may not have the skills that you wish she or they had. You might not have skills. A lot of us are raised in a situation where we don't feel like we got the memo about sex. So we don't ever feel like we're good at it. Like there's this sense among a lot of us that some people are good at it and some people are not good at it. That's just not a true statement. Some people are more comfortable and some people are less comfortable. That's the true statement. So if you're in that uncomfortable group, it may be hard for you to bring up the topic of sex because you feel awkward, you feel embarrassed. And a lot of people feel awkward and embarrassed no matter how the sex is going. But talking about it during that time is super important, even though it's very difficult. You may want to have the help of someone like me or another person who is a sexual expert who can help you hold the conversation. I consider myself a sexual educator. I'm a sexologist, so I'm going to help people to understand what the circumstances are and then be able to communicate their needs within the set of circumstances that they have. So this may be you. I don't know, it could be you, don't know if it's you. But if it's you, then figure out a way to have what some people refer to as the talk. Other people just, sit down and have a conversation like, I'm hoping that we can have a better sex life. Now, one of the things I want to tell you about communication is this. When you communicate about sex, because it's such a private and tender topic, it's very important that you start with the expression of intention to connect and be closer. So you say something like, Bob, everybody's Bob in my world. Bob, I want to talk with you, but before we talk, I just want to let you know that I want to be even closer than we already are and have an even better relationship than we already have. And that's why I want to talk with you. So this conversation, I hope it'll be great for you and great for me, because I want us to both feel good about it. Okay, the next time that it's really important to talk about sex, just a minute, is when your sex is not happening at all. So you've fallen into a sexless relationship. So common. So how common is it? How common is it that people are in sexless relationships? Experts like me say it's somewhere between 20 and 40% of all couples who are together are technically sexless. That would mean you're having sex. And when I say sex, I mean whatever it is for you that means real sexual connection. It doesn't have to be penetrative sex. It's meaning you and your partner both feel like this is sex. We're having sex together. And maybe you never have penetrative sex, but it's satisfying, it's mutual, you both like it. So you're having that less than 6 times per year. And when that's happening, you're said to be in a sexless relationship. So if you're one of those people, between 20 and 40% of all couples fall into that category, it's very important that you talk about it. I am often asked, how long can a sexless marriage survive, or even can a sexless marriage survive? And the answer to that question is yes, it can survive. However, that's only if there's an agreement there and both people feel okay about it. Now, some people live in these sexless marriages for many years, like 10, 20 years, even longer, and both people are not okay with it. One of the people is extremely unhappy, and the other feels like, oh, well, it doesn't matter to me. Now, if that's you, that's a conflict to be resolved. Now, if you both feel okay about it, then of course there's no conflict. But when you have a sexless relationship, you should be talking about it, whether you think your partner cares about it or not. Because you may be making the assumption that it's all good, both of you are on the same page, and both of you are good and cool with the idea that you have a sexless marriage. That might not be true. For you, if you're in a sexless relationship or marriage and you don't like it, it's critical to talk about sex. Because if you don't, of course, there's no way it's going to get better. I suggest that when you're in that situation, that you not only talk about it, but you get help from a sex expert, not just somebody who is a therapist, a counselor, if that person doesn't have comfort talking about sex. Because this is not just about intimacy, it's not just about communication, it's really about many different things that are specifically sexual. Now, of course, all the other things in your marriage or relationship come into play here, because these things don't live in a vacuum. However, when you're in this situation, the key piece is to learn to speak about it. And going back to what I said in the last section about setting an intention for being closer, that is critically important here. If you somehow threaten your partner or make him, her, or them feel bad about themselves, of course, the conversation won't go well. But when you come to them and you say, I really want to talk with you because I want to be closer, I want our marriage to be better, our relationship to be better, then you will be able to have a fruitful conversation, find the help you need, and go on to have something that's mutually satisfying for both of you. It might not be the kind of sex that you thought you would be having, but it can still be amazing. And you may be assuming that your partner wants something very different from what he, she, or they want. They may want something very simple, something that would be easy for you to supply or to create with them, co-create with them. And you may be thinking they want something completely different. So that's what I have for today. Communication is extremely important. It's important for people who are having amazing sex, people who are having problematic sex, and people who are having no sex. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.